Number one, your net worth is an insurance policy against an interruption of revenue over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. That's really all it is, because your revenue should be increasing every year so you can, one, buy a better quality of life, better goods, better services, more fun lifestyle, attract better women, anti-aging technology, whatever it is. Number two, buy more insurance, which gives you more peace of mind. When your insurance policy is $50,000, there's a big difference in peace of mind between $5 million and not just sitting in a bank on every continent, real estate in multiple continents, multiple passports, gold, Bitcoin, the whole thing, some equities. Um, you've diversified, right, across the board, plus your business streams of income. Massive difference in peace of mind. Peace of mind is a great investment and a great insurance policy against an interruption of revenue, which there probably will be over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So if you have large lifestyle leaks and a spending problem, you need to look at every dollar spent as a percentage of net worth. There's some high income guys who have 20K in the bank, okay, and they live in Dubai. They make 20K a month, which is high income to most people, might not be high income to you, and they spend all of it. They spend 10K out at the clubs and on girls, and they're having a blast. But they've got 20K in the tank, 20K coming in every month, and it's all going back out the door. They're not saving anything, and they won't hesitate to drop 10K on a trip to the Maldives, right? A trip that costs them 50% of their net worth, because they're aggressive. They think they're going to make a bunch of money. But when you have 20 grand in the bank and you drop 10K on a trip, you just spent half your net worth on that trip. But it gets worse if you just look at the average American. Something like 60% of Americans have less than 10 grand in savings as net worth. But it's actually a negative net worth because they've got a mortgage, right? So they've got 400K in debt and less than 10K in the bank. So they're well in the negative. A mortgage on is something you're personally liable for. It is not an investment because you're not making money on it. You're paying interest on it. And it is not an asset, it's a liability. You are in a negative net worth unless you have more in cash than you do in that actual mortgage. Corporate debt is something totally different because you're not liable for it in LLC, and you're dumping it back into marketing as a flywheel, and it's actually easy to beat the 8%, 7% interest, and so that type of debt's an asset. So the average American is hundreds of grand negative, but for the actual money that they have available, they'll blow. Let's say they have 10K in the bank, or even 4K, like a lot of people. They'll still blow 400 a month on going out and drinking, right? 10% of their net worth on booze that you piss out. So in both cases, with the high spender, baller, lifestyle league guy, or just the average Americans, it's almost impossible to get wealthy unless you're extremely good at getting revenue, and your spending doesn't exponentially follow your income, which in most cases it will. If you're a baller, and you start going from 20 to 100K, you're probably going to start spending 100K. With that said, perhaps not. He just might spend 40 and keep 60, because it is harder to spend beyond 40K when you're living abroad unless you're flying private. But some guys find a way. But in a lot of cases, it will exponentially, increase. You see this a lot with rappers, athletes, actors, like non-businessmen who don't value the dollar in the same way, will have major lifestyle leaks. And look, I'm not Dave Ramsey saying don't buy the Starbucks so you can be a millionaire when you're 60s. That's trash, complete trash. I want you to be able to spend 25K a month in Latin America and Southeast Asia and all that stuff. Just you're doing it when you're making 100K a month from your active and passive income, or 50K, or you're spending all of it, but you've got 300K in the bank, and you have 4 revenue generating vehicles that you're dumping all the profits back into and taking a 25K salary out. and per month and spending all that. That's fine because you're building equity and reinvesting in the businesses, and you're what you have across hedged across the board net worth wise is 300K, um, is fine. So here's the way I want you to think. Think of your money as soldiers. When you leave your soldiers sitting in the bank, your army atrophies, and you lose anywhere from 3 to 15% of your soldiers every year, right? Through inflation. When you pull them out of the battle and put them into lifestyle investments, they're going AWOL, never to return. You're pulling them out and putting them into booze, into all these other things. You're giving them shore leave, right? Go ahead, relax, enjoy. Pulling them out of the battle, they never come back, right? So you're pulling the soldiers out, and you're sending them somewhere else that's not a battle, where you don't benefit at all, at least financially in that case, right? You enjoy your life, but you're pulling your soldiers out of the war, um, never to return. It's only when you keep throwing them into war to fight and die and multiply and conquer that you're able to succeed. Your dollars, each dollar is, a soldier in the army. $10,000 is a platoon. That's enough to start a business, another stream of revenue that's going to make you seven figures, right? That is 10 grand is a platoon. Um, the guys who run Google, have 50 billion or whatever. They have enough to be able to afford 30,000 full-time employees, the smartest people in the world, working 24/7 to make them money because of the amount of soldiers they have to give these guys to fight the competition, right? So if your soldiers are being pulled out of the battle and can't fight and conquer, you can never live the lifestyle you want, and you can't buy peace of mind. Instead, you live on borrowed money, right? Because you're going to go into debt because you're going down financially. Almost all ballers do. And then you're going into distractions from your financial problems. So you push harder into the booze or whatever, to escape this lack of peace of mind that you have, and push harder to live like in the moment and spend the money and don't worry about the future and yada yada, because you're not solving that.